Hello and welcome to Barcelona again. You may be wondering why I'm revisiting Barcelona since I spent quite a bit of time there, but I've set myself a goal to earn the printing of 3D or of outlines of tracks and 3D print them and put them on my wall. And to earn them, I want to get within 105% of the lap record time for each track. There was a couple surprises when I checked where I'd reached that and where I haven't yet. For example, I did reach on Zolder, surprisingly. And also, I haven't reached it on Barcelona. I need 147.2 or 0.3, I believe. And my lap record so far had been 147.7. So yeah, going back here, haven't prepared much. So my qualifying lap wasn't great. 148. Was it 5 or 0.9 or so? In any case, not fantastic. But at the start, I have a great launch. I'm quite far forward in my box and a good starting speed before the lights go off, and then I have a good reaction time as well. So I immediately blitz past a Bordeaux Ferrari, and then I'm behind the next Ferrari in front of them. It's a little wrong, and coming into turn 1, I bump into the back of them because they had a very sudden extra slowing, and I figured they may have bumped into someone in front of them, but I wasn't sure when it happened. I'm a bit unsettled in turn 2, so I lose some positions, but then this pink-purple Ferrari comes through to clear the way for me. So if we look back at the start in the replay, I'm B-Boy Fiesta marked in the red, then in front of me Borges in green, then B-Boy Bocon marked in blue, and then in front of this little column is Kirillov, not a B-Boy, except that he's a Belland, so maybe in that way he is. But we'll get to that further in the video. So yeah, that's the players introduced. So as mentioned, I got a great launch here. Immediately get to go past Borges, which then puts me behind Bocon, the yellow-green Ferrari. I get quite close. I was getting very close under braking, but I thought I would be fine. But then indeed they bump into someone in front of them, namely Kirillov, which I don't blame Kirillov for at all. But so here I was a bit unsettled in turn 2, a bunch of cars pass me by. The last one here is this purple pink Ferrari, which is Draco. They really want to be on the outside for the upcoming turn, so they just bump Kundelis and both spin out, so I now have a clear track in front of me. Also behind me I have a bit of a gap. Then there's this car rejoining, I believe it's Grenet, though not entirely sure. Unfortunately for this video the track list, the timing list is on the fritz again. I do have a car on my left, Stein, and I pinched them a bit on the straight, but nothing too bad. I moved back to the right for the sweeping left-hander. So here we see it from their perspective. But yeah, they ram me and they stay on the throttle until they start losing control fully themselves, and only then they start caring about not making the situation worse. So yeah, I'm on the outside. I turn in front of them. I have clearly owned the corner, but they kind of drive through me. And they only start braking when they're already starting to spin towards the wall. This puts me out of the track, so now I've fallen even more behind. The timing sheet isn't correct, but in the top left the position is pretty, or maybe with a small delay, but quite correct. So I am 16th, although obviously not 16 out of 14, I think it was 16 out of 20 or so. So yeah, trying to chase these people down again. Grenet spun off here on the left, and then I think this is Kundelis in front of me. So they recovered from the hit by the purple Ferrari to overtake me when I was spun. And now they had another incident, but they managed to stay in front of me. So I'm gonna try and chase them down. I'm P16, maybe P15 now. Anyway, I'm quite far back in the field, basically only one car behind, but then a bunch of them also in the pits. And there we go, now it's P15, so that was with the Grenet overtake, I think. So okay, very eventful first lap, lots happening. Luckily, I didn't sustain any damage, or major damage at least, so no need for me to go to the pits and be fully out of this race. I think I forget what my position on the start was, but yeah, in any case, I've gone backwards a little bit. Oh yeah, I started P14, so at most I lost 2 places and I already regained 1. And I'll try to continue on that same track and just gain more positions. So Kundalis, I break them going into the hairpin, managed to close the gap quite a bit. And then here they go too deep into this corner, so I got the apex much better than them, and on exit I come very close, even alongside on the next mini straight. I go on the brakes a bit later, but then from this perspective it looks like the camber is negative, meaning that the road drops away from the corner, which gives you less grip. And it looked worse on the outside where I usually don't drive, so I didn't feel too comfortable and I slow down more than Kundali, so they maintain position. But then next straight, not too far behind, and into the hairpin they go on the brakes too late, and this hairpin makes it so that if you miss the apex, the corner gets much tighter. We'll see that also a bit on the replay. So here they go a bit deep in the corner. I'm very close behind because of it. I don't hit the second apex just to be careful. And here later on the brakes, but I do brake harder, and that puts me behind again, but not by too much. Also, I think my exit out of the corner was quite good, so I am quite close. Here they are on the brakes too late, they miss this apex, and then you can see the corner really pinches in, so that makes it that they have to slow down more than I do, and I can just cut in front of them into the next section. My line through this corner wasn't optimal because of all that, but there's no way to pass by there really once I obtain the position, so it's fine. So that's another position gained. I am apparently P13. I'm not sure where I overtook the extra car. I guess someone spun off or maybe returned to garage or something. But anyways, another spot properly won. Happy days. I'll skip ahead a bit then, because the next lap not much happened, except that I was doing personal bests. And I really kind of felt like I was flying this race. It was really cool. Also, I'm gonna start here from before the chicane to just show you where the car in front was. So the car in front is Castle. They were alongside me on the grid. I think maybe I was 1 position up, or in any case we were super close, but now I'm catching them nicely while continuously doing personal bests. Even here I'm setting a 147.3, so far personal bests had been for this session, but if this isn't an improvement already on my overall personal best, yeah, well, spoiler alert, it's about to happen now. So my main goal was to on Barcelona get within that 105% of the record. Well, not quite on this one, but super consistent, less than a tenth slower than the previous lap. And also I gained good ground on Castle in front of me. So now if we took the same image, they are nowhere near the chicane by the time I round the corner before it. So I'm really close behind compared to 2 laps ago. It was proper fun hunting them down, but I don't think it's the most interesting to just watch lap after lap, so hence I skipped it a bit. But yeah, I was already up to P12. I guess some more cars passed on the side of the track, and there was another one there at the start of the straight, but no real overtake, so not much interest in showing those. But then Castle, it's more of a fight. It was pretty slow reeling them in because our lap times were really close. But as said, I felt like I was flying this race. Like something clicked, and I feel my driving was way better than any previous session. And I just feel more at ease with the car for some reason. Maybe it was just a good day. Maybe I've really improved by a significant margin suddenly. I'm not sure. But yeah. So in the hairpin, Castle doesn't keep it quite as tight. So on exit, they don't have as much room to throttle out. Then here, I cut the curb better than them. Although on exit, they do drive away ever so slightly. But yeah. Nothing lost, definitely. Here in the corner, I think they keep their minimum speed up a bit higher, but I think I'm slightly faster on the exits. So going to the hairpin, I'm not close enough for a full dive, but definitely close enough behind to capitalize here on their mistake. So they're pretty slow on the exit, and I immediately bring it alongside. We bang doors a little bit. They come out very slightly ahead, but I'm pretty brave here on the throttle. I remember in the moment thinking just like stamp on that throttle, just catch it if something goes wrong. And I managed to pull ahead on that mini straight. So yeah, it was not the longest battle, but I had a lot of fun with this one. So again, here in the hairpin they run too deep, means they have less room on exit. I can go on the throttle harder with the little drift to the outside that goes with it, which they don't have the opportunity to. Then here, let's say it's a wash between us in that corner. Maybe he comes out ever so slightly better. Here he starts out better early in the corner, but then towards the end of it I kind of come back a little. But then in the hairpin, so yeah, I think they hit the apex slightly too fast, so they have a lot of turning to do in the second phase. Whereas for me that was less the case, and I come alongside because of it. And then the door banging, during the race I was a little worried that I didn't leave enough space, but then watching the replays I feel like maybe it was on the line, but I think it was okay. We can see it here in slow-mo. I had a bit of bounce from the previous curb, so that put me slightly to the left, but then we were in a corner, so I start cornering more towards the right. And I think maybe because of the bounce right before, they thought they would get more room than they did. But I think I still left the cars with, so I don't think there was anything wrong with that from either side, basically. Also, didn't really have an impact on the racing. So yeah, I look now to put Castle behind me. Our lap times were super similar, so he's sticking quite close behind. The timing sheet doesn't show it, but you can see it on the track map. I marked with number 14 and they are number 13. Even though, at this point, I'm already P8 out of 21. So really, really great progress through the field with, well, only 2 legit overtakes, if you want to call it that way, but yeah. And furthermore, I still felt like I was flying. I was so hyped about it. So previous lap I did a 147, 155. I figured I'd show a bit how I'm approaching trying to improve. So here I marked with red where I would previously brake, where the red line would cross my roof line. But now I'm going with the green line. And for the colorblind people, I made the green line into a little dumbbell with balls at either side. So yeah, I'm just trying to push my braking points a little, trying to get on the throttle earlier. Here I'm doing more trail braking into this corner, so I carry a bit more speed on the entry to it. And similarly here, I used to brake at the red line, pushing it towards the green line, then doing a bit more of my braking still in the corner with a bit of trail braking, which you can see also on the graph below. Yeah. It's just these minor improvements that you try to push, and then well, we can tell by the delta I was up quite a bit. It ebbs and flows a bit, but so you're constantly trying to be a little brave, and then if you're up on the delta, it's also kind of tempting to then be safer in the rest of the lap to bring home the advantage you already got. In this one, it's a bit the opposite. So I used to brake at the red line, roughly. It's a bit hard to estimate since there's no proper marker there. And I'm trying to brake a little bit earlier, and I'll show you why when we get to the actual corner. But yeah, this one is not as easy to judge because there's no marker. But so yeah, here we come into the actual corner. And previously I would aim for the red line, so just try to connect this apex and the next in kind of a straight line. Currently, I'm more doing a slight curve on this line because even when you're full on the throttle or feeding into the throttle, you can still put a little bit of steering angle. So I'm trying to use that to just brake a little bit earlier, start my turn a bit earlier, but then carry more speed through the corner and on the exit. Then here in front we see a car crashing out, so they took the line over the grass and then they went perpendicular on the track and crashed into the wall. That's the line I always try to avoid and usually succeed, so I try to more stick just on the outside of the track and stay straight, as marked in the green line. But yeah, the person in front, by the way, is Kirillov, the guy that I call a bell end for reasons as yet unknown. And then finally, the next corner is also a bit difficult to judge because lack of markers, and it's quite a long corner. So I used to brake at the red line roughly. Then I moved it to the orange line, but nowadays I try to do more the green line if I have the option. Harder to judge because there's not that much information to work with in the surroundings on this corner. So yeah, I hope that gave some insight, but that's basically the approach you have in every corner. And so far I did a 147.155, and I was so hopeful of doing a 146. I was well on track for it too in this lap, but then unfortunately I messed it up in the last couple of corners. So I guess here I crossed the sausage curb, and it cost me about 2 to 3 tenths, maybe slightly more than 3 even. So in the end, it's a very marginal improvement to a 147.135, which is my new personal best on the track, and at least it had achieved my goal of the 105% for sure. But being so close, I really want that 146 now. So in front of me, we have Borges. You might remember them from the start, the Bordeaux Ferrari that I made very short, quick work of with my launch. So they qualified in front of me, 2 spots to be precise. So in qualifying, at least their pace was higher, but I've been so consistent in this race. I was super happy about it. Yeah, for context, in my previous race, I think I even said something like, yeah, I'm doing pretty consistently 147, 148s. And I was already kind of glad about that. So now just doing 147, one after the other, and even the low 147 so consistently, it was such a great feeling, really like a flow state. But yeah, we're in the penultimate lap on this race, chasing down Borges. I have about 4 tenths up on my delta, so if I don't mess it up again, I'll be looking to bring it home. I do go too deep here in the hairpin, and it cost me some time, but I'm still up 2.5 tenths on my delta, now 3 again, by pushing a bit harder in that corner. Well, I lose it again on exit. So it would still be in the high 146s. But then, with Borges in front of me, we see Kihenlov, who was somehow, for some reason, parked next to the chicane. And they start rejoining the track right as we are passing by straight in the path of Borges. And yeah, I was pretty confused and hoping they wouldn't interfere, but I was already distracted and losing time compared to my delta. And then they crash out. I have no way to stop, and unfortunately it's messed up. Also, Castle is approaching super fast now. And then to make matters worse, apparently Kihenlov was out for vengeance for some reason on Borges. And turns out I'm the biggest victim of their quest for vengeance. So that was a pretty sour note. Then Kundalis, I'm spun backwards and stranded, so I want to rejoin, but then I see Kundalis arriving on the scene, so I had to wait for them to pass before I could do a safe rejoin. So yeah, and the replay was clearly planned from Kihenlov, just looking to mess up Borges' race, and then instead they mostly make it bad for me. And then here they want to get them again. They swerve to hit them, but Borges braked in time. They swerve again, miss Borges again, but I have to take big avoiding action. I end up sliding and then getting tagged still by a Castle who wasn't all that far behind. So yeah, sad times. At this point I was P7 and there was still one more lap to go, so I was pretty hopeful to get P6, but yeah, not gonna happen anymore here. And then I went to look in the replay what may have happened. So Kirillov was looking to make a move on Castle a couple laps ago. Coming into turn 1, they were pretty close behind, but not close enough to come alongside or go for a dive, even though they were kind of posturing for it. And then into this 180-degree turn with a big radius, they come pretty close and not close enough again to come alongside, but they do bump Castle from behind. But Castle owned that corner at that point, so that's fully on Kihenlov. Then in the hairpin though, Kihenlov does pull ahead and Castle spins them out. They do stay on the brakes until Kihenlov is out of their path before getting back on the gas. So it was a mistake, but you know, these things happen and they weren't a dick about it by just powering through, like for example Stein was, the twat. So yeah, I get that it's not fun, but to get so salty seems a bit ridiculous. And then just after that, Kihenlov ends up fully spinning out by themselves. They just banter a bit on the track on the side, and then they get on their way super slowly. And I think they were fuming first from the incident, but then I think just because they messed up themselves, and it's like, okay.
Jeez, what a little crybaby.
You gonna cry all day, crybaby?
You know, everyone has problems. It doesn't mean you have to be a little crybaby about it.
Yeah, thank you Radiohead, I couldn't have said it better. So anyway, from P7 looking to get P6, still on the last lap. I am now, let me think, I guess P9. Oh yeah, it'll update shortly, presumably on the top left. No, okay, P8 somehow. Or maybe it's not updated. Doesn't matter. So no, okay, there we go. P9. Doesn't matter so much anyway. In my mind, in my heart of hearts, I was P7 and with a fair shot at P6 for the end of the race. It's not like there's points to be gained for a grander championship or whatever. So all good. The thing that I was most sad about was that my 146 was refuted. I think I could have definitely brought that one home, but we'll never know. It's the lap that could have been. So yeah, I drive the rest of the lap cleanly, all by myself, and I do bring it then home in P9 without much further drama. So the session, all in all, was fantastic. I was elated, I was hyped, I was in a flow. I loved being so consistent, and I hope I can just keep getting that feeling in future sessions, and that it wasn't just a good day, or at least that I'll have more of these kind of good days. But yeah, I feel like I took some good steps in my development and my feeling for this car. And all in all, despite the sour note towards the end, I was still very happy. So yeah, that will be it for this one. But thank you for watching, and goodbye.